Let me ask you something that no one ever really asks men over 60. What if aging isn't the problem, just the excuse? Because everywhere you look, the story's the same. You're tired? You're just getting old, losing drive? That's normal at your age. Low energy, poor sleep, intimacy fading, welcome to senior living. And after hearing it long enough, even the strongest men begin to believe it. They stop asking questions. They stop pushing for more. They settle into a quieter version of themselves. And they call it aging. But what if I told you that story isn't medicine? It's marketing. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott. And for the last 30 years, I've walked beside men who were told they were just getting old, but who were actually running on empty. Not broken. Not finished. Just starving for the right fuel, and buried under the wrong beliefs. I've watched men in their 60s, 70s, even late 80s come back to life, not with hormone shots or expensive pills, but with truth, timing, and the kind of nutrition that speaks the language of the male body. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming strength. And it begins the moment you stop believing the myth, and start learning what your body actually needs to perform again. So today, we're going to break the biggest myths about aging, nutrition, and male performance. Not with scare tactics. Not with shame. But with clarity, science, and real stories. Because the truth is simple, you're not fading. You're waiting for the right signal. Let's find it together. I remember the first time I met Mark. He was 66, a retired engineer from Michigan. Tall, soft-spoken, polite to a fault, like a man who spent a lifetime fixing things for everyone but himself. He sat across from me in my office, hands folded, voice steady. "Doc," he said, "I'm not sick. But I don't feel like me anymore." I asked him what he meant. He paused. "I sleep through the night, but I wake up tired. I get through the day, but everything feels heavier. I still love my wife, but I feel distant. Disconnected. And it's not depression, it's like I'm watching my life from behind a glass window." Then he said the line I've heard too many times, "But I guess that's just how it is after 60. Right?" And that, right there, is the most dangerous myth of all. This idea that at some invisible line, maybe 60, maybe 65, a man is supposed to just start fading. That it's normal to feel numb. That it's normal to lose edge, and purpose, and connection. That it's just age. No, it's not age. It's not a switch that flips. It's not nature giving up on you. What Mark was experiencing, and what millions of men quietly carry every day, is not a curse of aging. It's a signal from his biology. A signal that something's missing. That his body, after decades of holding him up, is now asking for something different. Not less. Not surrender. But real nourishment. You see, what most people call aging is often just underfueling. A slow, quiet depletion of the nutrients your cells need to fire, repair, and perform. Low magnesium? You feel heavy. Low B12? You lose spark. Low nitric oxide? Blood stops moving where it matters most. Low protein at night? Muscles shrink, sleep suffers, hormones stall. And yet, we call all of that just getting older. Mark didn't need a pep talk. He didn't need a motivational poster. He needed information. He needed to know that what was happening to him was real, but it was not final. When I explained the biology, that his decline was rooted in missing fuel, not missing time, he sat back in his chair and said, "You mean this isn't just the beginning of the end?" I looked him in the eye and said, "No, Mark. This is the beginning of the rebuild. Because once you understand the truth, that your performance, your clarity, your energy, aren't dictated by a number, but by how well you feed your system, everything changes." And that brings us to the next big myth, one that traps even the smartest men. Supplements are the solution. Let's unpack that next. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Most of the men I've seen in the last 10 years aren't lacking motivation. They're overloaded with bottles. I've had patients bring in bags, literally zip-up duffel bags, filled with powders, capsules, gummies, and boosters. They'll lay them out on my desk and say, "Doc, I'm doing everything right. Why don't I feel any better?" And I always ask them the same question. When did we start believing a pill could replace real food? Now don't get me wrong, supplements have a place. They can support what's missing. They can help fill gaps. But here's the problem. Most men are using them as substitutes. And the body doesn't respond well to substitutes. See, your biology doesn't crave more, it craves recognizable signals. It wants nutrients the way it understands them, wrapped in real food, timed with your body's repair cycles, delivered with enzymes, minerals, fats, so they can actually be used. But when you dump a capsule of isolated zinc or synthetic vitamin D, with no cofactors, no food, no rhythm, you don't get healing. You get confusion. You get a short-lived spike, and then nothing. It's like pouring jet fuel into a rusted engine. You might get a spark, but not for long. Let me share something real. A man named Clarence, 70 years old, retired firefighter, came to me exhausted. He'd been taking 4 different testosterone boosters, plus energy supplements, nitric oxide powder, and a vitality drink. But he still woke up tired. Still felt invisible in his own body. When I asked about food, he shrugged. Mostly coffee and toast in the morning, protein bar mid-afternoon, some grilled chicken if I remember. There it was. All signal, no substance. His body was trying to run a complex system with synthetic guesses, instead of whole food instructions. So we stripped it back. We focused on 3 things. Real protein in the evening to fuel overnight muscle repair. Magnesium-rich foods to relax vessels and restore nerve function. 1 circulation-friendly habit every morning, like tart cherry juice or pomegranate. 2 weeks later, Clarence called me. "Doc," he said, "I didn't expect much. But I'm sleeping again. I feel warm in the mornings. I actually want to move. And the best part, I feel like me again." That's not a supplement doing the job. That's his biology waking up, because it's finally being spoken to in its own language. So listen, if you're reaching for the next pill, the next booster, the next bottle that promises to make you feel 25 again, pause. Ask yourself, am I feeding my body, or just stimulating it to perform without support? Because performance doesn't come from pressure. It comes from preparation. And that brings us to the next lie most men believe, one that quietly robs them of their best years. Nutrition doesn't really affect performance. Let's bust that myth next. Some men lose strength slowly. Others lose it all at once, like a switch flips, and the spark goes dark. But for most, it begins subtly. Food becomes a background decision. Breakfast gets lighter. Dinner gets rushed. Meals become about convenience, not fuel. And somewhere along the way, they start to feel distant from themselves. Not just physically, emotionally. Less drive. Less clarity, less connection. And then the myth creeps in. My diet has nothing to do with it. It's just my age. It's stress. It's life. But here's what I wish more men knew. Every system of male performance is directly tied to food. I'm not talking about calories. I'm talking about signals. Instructions. Fuel coded for hormones, blood vessels, nerves, and mood. When you eat the right foods, at the right times, you activate nitric oxide, relax blood vessels, stabilize blood sugar, support testosterone, and feed your brain. Let me show you how this looks in real life. Tony, 64, a retired postal worker, came to see me for low energy and no drive. He had a clean bill of health, no major disease, but when I asked what he ate during the day, he said, "Honestly, just coffee and maybe a sandwich." We made one simple change. He started having a real breakfast, a warm bowl of oats with chia seeds, blueberries, and a pinch of cinnamon. Add in a glass of pomegranate juice. That's it. Within 2 weeks, Tony said, my legs feel lighter. I'm not crashing by 11 a.m. And I'm feeling something I haven't in a while, interest. That wasn't willpower. That was circulation, returning. That was testosterone, rising. That was blood sugar, stable. It was nutrition, not supplements, not medication, restoring the foundation. So if you've ever said, food won't fix this, I want you to pause and consider, when was the last time you fed your body what it actually remembers? Because this isn't about eating clean, it's about eating smart, and giving your system the tools it needs to perform again. And now, I want to give you those tools. Let's break down exactly how to rebuild from within. There comes a point, after the myths have been shattered, when the question quietly becomes, so, what do I actually do now? This is that moment. Because performance, energy, and vitality after 60 aren't restored by hacks. They're rebuilt through rhythm, through simple, specific shifts that send a clear signal, we're not done. We're rebuilding. I call it the Rebuild from Within framework, 3 core nutritional shifts that change everything. Not because they're trendy, but because they align with what your body still knows how to do. 1. Timing, fueling your biology when it needs it most. You've probably heard, you are what you eat. But for men over 60, it's more accurate to say, you are when you eat. Your hormones, your blood flow, your nerve signals, they all follow a rhythm. And when you time your meals with that rhythm, especially your first hour after waking and your final hour before sleep, you activate repair instead of decline. Morning, circulation is sluggish. Testosterone is low. That's the time for nitric oxide-rich foods, pomegranate juice, avocado, eggs, oats. Night, your body enters restoration mode. That's when slow digesting protein and minerals make the biggest impact. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, pumpkin seeds, almond butter. Eat like that, and your body doesn't just survive the day. It rebuilds through the night. 2. Composition, choosing nutrients your body recognizes and uses. Most men I see are missing 5 key players: magnesium, zinc, leucine, B12, and good dietary fats. When those are missing, you feel it. Low energy. Mood swings. Poor sleep. Weak circulation. Soft muscle tone. Diminished drive. But when they return, so do you. And here's the thing, you don't need 20 pills. You just need food that contains the message. Magnesium, found in almonds, oats, dark leafy greens, zinc, pumpkin seeds, beef liver, yogurt, leucine, eggs, cottage cheese, whey. B12, eggs, beef liver, Greek yogurt, healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, nuts. Your body remembers these because it was built for them. 3. Consistency, turning meals into medicine. Without perfection, most men fail not because they don't try, but because they think if they can't do it all, they shouldn't do anything. Forget perfection. What your body needs is repetition. 1 bedtime habit. 1 consistent breakfast shift. 1 glass of water with real minerals. Repeated daily, it becomes a new rhythm, and your cells adjust. Your blood vessels open. Your testosterone pulses. Your confidence returns, subtly, but steadily. I've watched men go from numb to alive, not because they did everything right, but because they stuck with something small, every day. This isn't about dieting. This isn't about eating clean. This is about fueling a man's body to feel like a man again. Because food isn't just nourishment, it's instruction. And when the instruction is clear, the body listens. What happens next? That's where it gets good. Let's look at what this rebuild actually feels like, in 7, 14, and 30 days. It's a strange thing, the moment a man starts eating like he matters again. Not like a chore. Not like a restriction. But like a ritual of repair. That's when everything changes. Because food isn't just something you put in your mouth. It's a message to your body. And when the message is clear, consistent, and timed with care, the body responds. Here's what that response often looks like. Day 1 to 3, the fog begins to lift for many men. the first change is subtle, but unmistakable. Sleep feels a little deeper. You're not waking up 5 times a night. There's less tension in your jaw, your chest, your hands. That morning grogginess? It softens. Not because you drank more coffee, but because your body is starting to trust that fuel is coming. And when the body trusts, it releases stress. This is the beginning of the reset. By week 2, blood starts moving again. Circulation doesn't announce itself loudly. But it does return. You feel it in your legs when you stand up. In your face when you look in the mirror. In your groin, in the mornings, in quiet, private ways that only you understand. You don't need a pill for that. You need nitric oxide. And when your food supports that system, pomegranate, watermelon, leafy greens, magnesium, the spark returns. One man told me, "I'm not just getting up easier, I'm waking up easier." And not just physically. Mentally, emotionally, something's shifting. By day 30 the reflection starts looking back. This is where the real magic happens. Not because you're ripped. Not because you're 25 again. But because you feel capable again. Your energy is steady. Your steps feel firmer. You're making eye contact again, not just with others, but with yourself. You want to move. You want to connect. You're noticing moments you used to rush past. And inside, there's a quiet voice saying, "I knew I wasn't done." That's what happens when you feed your biology the way it was designed to be fed. Not like a machine. But like a living, breathing system that still wants to perform, still wants to love, still wants to lead. This isn't about discipline. It's about dignity. Because when you start eating like you matter, your body doesn't just digest food. It rebuilds identity. And that identity? That strength, that confidence, that quiet edge, it's always been yours. You just had to remind your body how to find it. And now, we come to the most important truth of all. Let's close this journey together. This was never about turning back the clock. You're not trying to be 25 again. You're not chasing abs or impressing strangers. You're not here to relive the past. You're here to reclaim what matters most. Clarity. Connection. Control. And the quiet pride of showing up in your own body, fully. You see, most of the world talks about aging like it's a downhill slide. But what no one tells you is this: you get to decide what the next chapter looks like. And that's not youth. That's ownership. Owning your mornings. Owning your meals. Owning your rhythm, your biology, your story. Because when you start feeding your body like it still matters, it responds. And when you stay consistent, even when no one is watching, it rebuilds. Not just muscles. Not just blood flow. But identity. And that identity isn't gone. It's waiting. Quiet. Steady. Underneath the surface. All it needs is one signal. One shift. One decision to say, "I'm not giving up. I'm not settling. I'm not done." So start small. Tonight, 1 spoon of almond butter. Tomorrow morning, 1 real breakfast. This week, 1 act of care, not out of fear, but out of respect. And if this message hits something deep in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. A brother, a friend, a father who might be quietly fading. Because the truth is, we don't need more pills. We need more men who remember their strength, and rise to claim it. This isn't the end. Not even close. This is the rebuild. And it starts with you.